Dragon Ball is dying.
Redheadher, how can this be? How can Dragon Ball be dying? We have a new movie where everyone gets a new spoofle. The manga is still going with new regular forms. The anime is coming back. We have cash grab games that warp our minds and provide streamers and gamers powers of fun, but provide us no original content, but repeats of the same goddamn stories and characters. How can Dragon Ball be dying?
My friends, it's a simple answer, but one we must get into. Let me explain. Yo, what's happening, redheads? This is Jason Henry, the Redhead Henry, and in today's video, I will be providing you my opinion on why I believe Dragon Ball is dying, and in many ways has died already. Before we begin, if you enjoy Dragon Ball content and fanfiction animations, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, and give this video a like. For more Dragon Ball related content, it helps out the channel big time. And I very much would love to engage with you guys down in the comments section below, so please ensure you leave a comment with your opinions on this video. Now before we dive into this topic, I need to put out a small statement that this video is dangerous. It's dangerous because I and many like me share some common views that our beloved childhood Dragon Ball series is not what it once was, and that just because we don't blindly accept what currently modern Dragon Ball is, the repercussions of this and what I say in this video is attacks. The community is drenched with extreme viewpoints about the series from across the spectrum, and before you attack me with your crippling, devastating, and emotional outbursts down in the comments section and elsewhere, you need to realize that not everyone shares the same views. And that's okay. We all love Dragon Ball, and some things people like and some things people don't like. I can't believe I have to stress this before we get into the actual meat of the video, but it goes without saying that the vast majority of this community is filled with individuals who can't seem to understand this concept, and as a result of myself putting out a controversial video like this, certain individuals erupt with emotion as they feel that I or others like me are attacking them, when this is clearly not the case, and that I in no way in this video am claiming that if your viewpoint is different than mine, then you must be in the wrong. There is no right or wrong, and if you genuinely enjoy Dragon Ball Super, then please explain down below what aspects of it you enjoy. But it is a foregone conclusion that many of us are not so easily swayed in our opinions, and many even follow blindly the opinions of others without objectively looking at something and carefully reviewing it. But I would hope some of the points brought up in this video will get you thinking objectively and not for the reasons you think. So please keep a level head, be objective,
be a man,
state your views and stand by them, destroy bad ideas with better ideas. And now, let us journey back to a time when Dragon Ball was young. The late 90s to mid-2000s contained arguably some of the most epic and classic anime on US broadcast television. Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Cowboy Bebop, Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, Rurouni Kenshin, and of course, Dragon Ball Z. It is shows like these that would spearhead the Western world into the Japanese world of anime and brought us hours upon hours of entertainment and inspiration. I remember watching these shows in middle school and high school. It was just an innocent time. Before the dark times, before the empire we know of today as social media. While forums, AOL Instant Messenger, and MySpace did exist back then, the division or camps of pro-Super or pro-GT fans did not exist. Everyone was just fans. No real hatred, no real heated debates, no real conflict. Just plain old-fashioned fun. Watching these shows, being a part of that experience was a joyful time. The love and heart that resided in those times were innocent, having no idea what would happen next after Gohan killed Cell, somehow only obtaining rare pictures or bootleg figures of a pink blob named Majin Buu, and that GT was being dubbed to English and would release soon, having no idea what would happen, but only seeing a few low-res clips of Goku at Super Saiyan 4 fighting some silver-haired dude named Baby. It was all just the beginning thrust into this entertaining and imaginative experience. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and yes, even Dragon Ball GT, though not as well received, had the right combination, the right essence of what it meant to have a successful anime series. It had the complex depth of characters, yet was simple enough to understand for a younger audience. It had interesting stories, things that we in the Western world had never seen before. It had drama, the drama that would make you invested in these characters to see them change and evolve and grow, which brought about tension, likability, and conflict. It had humor, which would spark fun moments between characters. And yes, it dealt with adult themes, showing blood, horrendous deaths, and epic fights, the likes of which we have never seen before. Fights and moments that would stay with us for what would seem like forever. The progression of character growth, the adventures of a young boy searching for 7 mystical orbs, all of this and more, while delivering a message to viewers that you must fight for what you believe in, that good will always triumph over evil, and that the fun adventures of Goku and the Z Squad would stay with us in our hearts as we grew older. Dragon Ball would set the stage for many other anime shows that were inspired by it and that would follow next on stage. It would become the blueprint for what other animes and manga would be created and become. Dragon Ball was and still is the king of anime. Its popularity all over the world and long-lasting reputation proves this. Yes, my friends, these were the best of times. These times were golden. These times were simple. These times had heart. Dragon Ball, for all of its flaws, had heart. But something was lurking deep in the depths of the internet that would slowly emerge over time, changing the way we as a society would engage and act on a daily basis. Social media, sites like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and others would slowly but surely over time emerge, changing the way we engage and consume content, and a new, younger generation of fans would grow up using these sites while also enjoying the same shows we grew up with. And while my feelings on social media are both positive and negative, it was clear that the overall positive experience of creating groups, threads, and posts about Dragon Ball would spawn even more fan fiction than what had already been established. The rise of fan fiction through animations, stories, mangas, games, and Dragon Ball artwork would emerge from these types of websites, which I would argue helped spark the next chapter in the revival of an official new Dragon Ball series as a sign of its growing popularity. There was just one problem. Dragon Ball was done and dusted. The story itself was over. GT had ended in the late 90s and no more films were being created. Dragon Ball during this time was peacefully, and rightfully so, put to rest in Japan. But while we and the rest of the world were experiencing Dragon Ball for the first time, and as it would continue to grow all over the world, sparking more and more fan content, the series in Japan had been done for over a decade. We had a beginning, middle, and end to the franchise, and though the franchise originated from the manga, spawning the anime, movies, TV specials, and games, it was clear that this series, having successfully migrated over to the West and had been thriving all over the world for years, needed a revival. That Toei, in their infinite wisdom, would test the waters. They would release Dragon Ball Z Kai, a recut, remastered version of the show, and additionally they would release new movies to test the waters and see worldwide reception. Of course, we as Dragon Ball fans were thrilled with the excitement and gobbled up the content like an unhinged flock of starving pigeons. It wasn't until sometime later in 2015 where Dragon Ball as we knew it would change forever. Dragon Ball Super was announced on April 28th, 2015, and with this announcement, it had been over 18 years since the series has ended. The hype was real, the excitement was real. Now the entire world would be able to enjoy a brand new Dragon Ball series all at once. But while we celebrated and began consuming Dragon Ball Super, something was amiss. While one could argue Dragon Ball Super revived the series, bringing Dragon Ball to life again, that may be true. But I would argue Dragon Ball was already thriving through reruns, fan adaptations, games, and more. But just because bringing Dragon Ball back in the form of a TV series and manga, that doesn't excuse the direction and atrocities that have transpired. Just because something ended doesn't mean it must be brought back. And if it is brought back, it must be treated with respect. Because as a wise man once said, without respect, we reject. Instead, we as fans bend over backwards for every piece of new official Dragon Ball content, gleeing with excitement, without objectively analyzing and realizing what is presented to us and what impact it could have on the canon, if there is such a thing to canon anymore, which we will get into later in this video. But let us continue. While watching Dragon Ball Super as it debuted, it was clear that there was something different about this show. Something was off while watching it. It wasn't so much the visual style or the action sequences, but it was something else, and it didn't really hit me personally until about 10 or so episodes in to realize that something was definitely wrong. But I, along with every other Dragon Ball fan, continued to watch, and with each new saga, each new storyline, fun, interesting moments were brought to us, exciting moments were brought to us, but it wasn't the same. Dragon Ball had changed. Now one could argue that it was me, that it was us. We, as long-term Dragon Ball fans, had changed, that while growing up our lives have shaped us into different people than how we were as young adults or children. But I would disagree. Dragon Ball was our childhood. Dragon Ball was our comfort show, a reflection of a time when things were simple. The love still remains for Dragon Ball, but the love that we felt for the show then is not the same as it is now through this current revival in Dragon Ball Super. And sure, maybe there are some moments or things that we like about Super, but overall, the experience is completely different, and different for the worse. Dragon Ball Super wrapped on March 25th, 2018, and while the manga still continues the story, it was clear that Dragon Ball Super had done something that Dragon Ball in itself had never done before. Something I think many of us to this day overlook and haven't really pieced together. Something that has never really been highlighted before, but is so on our face, we don't even recognize it. Dragon Ball Super had fractured the fandom. It had caused a rise in hatred. It had split fans into camps of pro GT or pro Super or pro everything Dragon Ball. Or if one like myself analyzes or objectively critiques Dragon Ball, then I must be a hater and I must be punished. One is treated as if one is a Nazi and must be attacked outright by the just supremacy of the young, or weak-minded, or sensitively emotional, or overly positive groups of individuals who do not stand for any negative, constructive, or honest analysis of Dragon Ball. Super had spit out old recycled characters, same story plots, regressing character growth, or ruining characters, remaking fan stories into abominations, and it had served as nothing more than a cash-grab nostalgia bait show designed to do one thing: bring in the money. And while yes, the goal of any company is to generate revenue, all these shiny new recolors meant to entice us are easily spit out every saga and movie, and it is clear that the story, character development, and direction has suffered tremendously. Modern Dragon Ball apparently won't be satisfied until every color in the color spectrum is used in transformations for every character. If we don't get a new colorful transformation or two every chapter, or every few episodes in the show, it doesn't hook. The flashy new content that blinds us to what Dragon Ball has become will continue using this formula, as a lack of drama and heart from the show we grew up with decades ago has become a shell of what made it so great. Flashy new transformations and recolors don't make the series. That's the payoff to what should be a great story. That it should be filled with tension, drama, and struggle. When you watch modern Dragon Ball, there is a lack of stakes because it has all been done before and is just simply being reused. Only now it's the same characters who have different hair colors. Dragon Ball was supposed to end after Frieza, and then it was supposed to end after Cell, and then finally it was going to end after Buu. But then GT came out, and that would have to serve as the ending. And now we have Super, and you could easily argue how with each new saga, chapter, or iteration of the series came out, it got a little worse, or provided the same experience as the prior chapter. You see, further down the road that we keep going, the worse it's going to get, unless a drastic change is made. While the series debuted, action figures and games would continue to be pushed, new movies and spin-off shows would emerge, and the canon would evolve to what we in the community had always dreamed of, the multiverse theory, which would cause essentially a breakdown between the movies, the show, and the manga, and also the games, though that already existed before. From what we consider to be the prime canon timeline, the The multiverse was now considered canon within the series, and in every other piece of medium, the manga, the anime, the movies, or the games, all officially put out by Toei, now has its own established canon and timeline, which is really the only way to explain the inconsistencies between the manga and the anime and the movies. They all can't be canon because they all contradict each other, so it's only fair to say that they all have their own established canon to each of the medium that they represent. No real timeline or canon actually exists as the primary canon. This brings me to the next point. Social media amplifies the hate for something to be canon or not canon, the hate for GT or the hate for Super. Young adults or mentally unstable individuals who may or may not have even seen the original Dragon Ball shows or read the manga would still do nothing but whine and complain and debate about why Super is the best show ever. Social media, while originally setting out to promote connection and speech, and for lack of a better term, the use for good, would be used for evil. Social media would be used as the battleground to pit fan against fan and their differing opinions about Dragon Ball. You tweet something out into the void of the internet, someone has something to say about that, good or bad. And while that gets into a different discussion, social media does act as the battleground in which the hate and diversity comes out, as individuals hide behind their screens, attacking your appearance, your views, or your reputation. I'm sure all of us at one point or another have succumbed to this simply by stating something that isn't agreed with by others. My friends, I love Dragon Ball. But my disgust for Dragon Ball Super isn't just simply due to the moments it contained, for its lack of tension and drama, for its bringing back of old villains, ruining characters, and using the same recycled concepts from past sagas. And while Super does contain some good moments, my true disgust for Dragon Ball Super is for what it represents. Dragon Ball Super is heartless. It has no soul. It split the fandom. It unintentionally, with the aid of social media, brought about the anger and hate for differing opinions on different aspects of the series. And no, I don't really blame Dragon Ball Super for this. They have no control over it. It is the raging, emotional children who wield the tool of social media. But it is the direction and mistreatment of the current Dragon Ball story that sparked all of this. Super is a cash grab, filled with nostalgia bait from the essence of what made Dragon Ball great. The show was dubbed down for a younger and more broader audience. Here is a perfect example. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and yes, even Dragon Ball GT had nudity. It had blood and gore. It had two versions, the televised US broadcast release, which was edited, and then the uncut, unedited version, which you could buy on VHS. Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball were rated 13 and up, and had two cuts of the show, while Dragon Ball Super has one cut of the show, and contains zero nudity, and little to no blood, at least not in comparison to how it was in other series. Dragon Ball Super seems to me to be rated more PG, which sometimes borderlines on a PG-13 rating. And no, I'm not talking about the movies, as those are their own standalone thing. This is the same with the manga. And that in general, the appeal of Dragon Ball comes from the show and not so much the manga. So we went from essentially a PG-13 to a PG rating. And no, I'm not complaining that the show doesn't have nudity or gore to how it once did. I'm simply pointing out that the show has been dubbed down for a younger, broader audience, and this point only helps back up my claim. While Dragon Ball is more popular than it ever has been all over the world, the heart and soul that existed in Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and yes, even Dragon Ball GT, is long gone. And while Super may still deliver some of the same messages, themes, and completely epic flashy fight scenes, it is not without its major flaws. Of course, nothing is perfect. This goes for all of Dragon Ball or anything in general, but that doesn't justify the direction the show has gone, the mishandling of characters, regurgitated stories and villains, and more. Super has ruined already established canon to previous shows. The lack of drama, emotion, and depth of character, these points about Super and its representation of dividing the fans will only get worse as time goes on, and as long as social media is around to amp up the feelings of how if your opinion differs from somebody else's, You must be targeted, attacked, humiliated, or cancelled. I want nothing more than for Dragon Ball to succeed. But as much as I want Dragon Ball to continue and succeed officially, the Dragon Ball that I knew is dead. And there are many who agree with me. Everything that starts must have an ending, and Super will eventually end. Even if the show or the manga or some other form of it continues, maybe the Goku show will continue forever, like Pokemon, never aging or progressing the story to an ending. But if recycled garbage content is always pushed out officially, we as fans cannot just blindly accept it. This gets into a subpoint that I did want to mention in this video. This kind of relates to Star Trek, or at least Alex Kurtzman's version of Star Trek. Just because an IP exists doesn't mean it needs to be revived and must continue for profit or to be used as a tool to push agendas. Alex Kurtzman's Trek has ruined Star Trek with woke propaganda and other nonsensical narratives that have no need to be in something like Star Trek. And while you could argue Star Trek has always been progressive, I would disagree. It would bring up sides or views from both angles and not force you or sway you to go one way or another. This is true for many shows. They inject shitty ideas and narratives and agendas and push forward with them when fans do not want it. They, meaning the corporations and executives, they think, oh, everything's fine, and the show is a success. And anyone who dislikes it must be a misogynist, a racist, a hater, or anything else they can throw out at you. And no, I'm not saying Dragon Ball has these things, nor am I grouping it in that category. In fact, I would argue that most anime or manga have none of these agendas in them, but I'm merely making a point. If an IP existed and had a good run, that doesn't mean it must be revived, and if it does, the story and the characters must come first. In many of these instances, the characters and the story do not come first, and what happens as a result of this is that the characters end up being ruined, the story ends up being butchered, all for the sake of the narrative or propaganda that is being pushed. If we continue to accept shitty content and ideas, then it will continue to be produced. Everything I have said in this video is from the heart. It is a healthy heart-to-heart message. I am not attacking anyone specifically, but I am calling out what currently happens if you voice a non-popular or differing opinion on Dragon Ball. I'm also calling out what we all deep down must soon come to realize and that many of us already have. And while what I say here in this video is dangerous for many reasons and could have massive repercussions to my reputation or this channel, it needs to be said. My love for Dragon Ball is too strong not to call out the truth, that this innocent TV show has assisted in crafting all of us into part of who we are today. If we lose that, we lose ourselves. Do not lose yourself to the blind hype of garbage content. There are those who would prefer to live in a happy, fun-filled bubble, constantly eating up everything modern Dragon Ball gives us today and claiming it is the best thing ever. That they are just happy Dragon Ball is still alive. That is their choice. But Dragon Ball never truly died. As I mentioned earlier in this video, Dragon Ball lived on. It will always live on, regardless if Toei puts out a manga, a movie, or a new show. The damage Super has dealt to the fan base may be irreversible at this point. The hate and targeted harassment by individuals who disagree with your opinion has overrun this fractured fan base. And yes, the community is fractured into many different camps. Fractured into love, into hate. And while those who would prefer to remain in their positive, happy-filled bubbles refuse to acknowledge this, it couldn't be more true. And they attack you for having a differing opinion. Here's a perfect example. If I have a different opinion than you, then I must be the enemy. Which means, from your point of view, I am injecting hate into the community, when I am in no way attacking anyone, only voicing my opinion. But by you attacking me, you yourself are injecting hate, when you claim nothing but positivity for the series. It doesn't make any sense. Anyone who is a Dragon Ball fan who refuses to acknowledge what the fan base currently is refusing to accept the truth, simply for likes and for projecting positive outlooks in order to grow a fan base or blindly support what they believe to be the best thing ever. This community isn't just like any other, where opinions differ but people are respected. Oh no. That would be too easy. The Dragon Ball community is filled with hate, passionate hate, and love for this show. The characters, the forms, and the stories. And while I'm not saying this is true in all cases, it is true in most. We do not live in a perfect world. But one should not be cast out, ridiculed, or canceled for simply saying something disliked or controversial. A lot of this, again, is from those who are too young or weak-minded or sensitively emotional, or are just too overly positive, who cannot take any criticism or constructive feedback about the series. My friends, Dragon Ball will never die. It will continue for a very long time, through fan fiction, fan projects, artwork, and more. And I 100% support good character-driven fan fiction and what-if stories, as they serve as a way for possibilities and imagination of what could have been and wasn't. Or new stories with new characters using Dragon Ball as the theme. Perhaps after Super ends, and it will end eventually, a future Dragon Ball series or other official medium will continue the story. But similar to how GT ended decades ago, Super will eventually end. Dragon Ball will eventually end. When that happens, Dragon Ball will live on through us, the fans. And maybe that's how it should be. But it's too early for that. For now, Dragon Ball reigns supreme as one of the most watched and successful animes of all time. It's larger than it ever has been before, and as it steamrolls over the world and continues to grow in its popularity and reception, it has lost the essence of what made the show great, its heart, only retaining a small piece of that essence, which flickers in the series every now and then.